Welcome to my channel, HD Rare Coins 111. In this video, I am going to tell you about the rare Washington quarter dollar from the United States of America, which is very valuable and very old. Top 1. When you think about coins, especially those that have been in circulation for decades, it's easy to assume that they are worth only what they're labeled, just a quarter, worth 25 cents. But what if I told you that a Washington quarter dollar minted in 1980 with no mint mark could be worth far more than its face value? In fact, this seemingly ordinary coin could fetch an incredible price, potentially earning you $50,000 if you have a rare, high-quality specimen. Sounds unbelievable, right? But let's dive into why this coin, which might still be lingering in your pocket or coin jar, is a potential hidden treasure. First, let's take a step back and understand the significance of the Washington quarter in American coinage. The design for the quarter, which features George Washington on the obverse, the front of the coin, has been in use since 1932. This iconic image of the first president of the United States was designed by John Flanagan, and it has remained one of the most recognizable coin designs in American history. The reverse of the coin originally depicted an eagle, but since 1999, it has featured various state and territorial designs as part of the 50 state quarters program. However, for most of the 20th century, the reverse design showcased an eagle or a variation of it, making the Washington quarter one of the most enduring symbols of American currency. In 1980, the U.S. Mint continued producing quarters with the familiar Washington design. But this particular year marks an interesting moment in coin collecting. You see, the 1980 quarter is one of the last years before the significant changes in minting occurred in the late 1980s and early 1990s, which would result in new designs and the eventual transition to different materials. The coins minted in 1980 are part of a series that holds historical significance, making them particularly appealing to collectors who focus on specific years. Now, you might wonder, why is the 1980 Washington quarter so special? The answer lies in the details. While millions of these quarters were produced and circulated over the years, the value of the coin is not just about the year it was minted. It's about the condition of the coin. Coins that have been heavily circulated, passed through many hands, and worn down over time are typically not worth much more than their face value. However, a 1980 Washington quarter that has been well preserved, free from any significant wear, scratches, or discoloration, can be worth much more. Most people don't think twice about the condition of their coins. After all, they're used for small transactions or tossed into a jar to collect dust. But for numismatists, coin collectors, and investors, the condition of a coin is everything. Coins that have been carefully stored, kept away from wear and tear, and preserved in mint or near-mint condition are incredibly valuable. This is especially true for coins that are from specific years, such as the 1980 Washington quarter. A key factor that makes the 1980 Washington quarter particularly valuable is its rarity in pristine condition. Given that millions of these quarters were produced and circulated, most of the coins you'll find today will show signs of wear. However, a small percentage of these 1980 quarters were kept in mint condition, either because they were never spent or because they were carefully preserved by collectors. These high-grade coins, graded by professional grading services like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, are worth significantly more than the typical circulated coin. But what makes the 1980 Washington quarter with no mint mark so special? Well, the mint mark, or lack thereof, tells us where the coin was produced. Coins without a mint mark were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which did not put mint marks on its coins during this period. The presence or absence of a mint mark is important in the world of coin collecting, as it helps collectors identify and trace the origin of a coin. In the case of the 1980 Washington quarter, the lack of a mint mark makes it a Philadelphia-struck coin, which can add to its appeal, especially for those collecting coins from specific mints. So, how much could this coin be worth? The value of the 1980 Washington quarter is, of course, determined by several factors, including its condition, rarity, and demand. A typical 1980 quarter in circulated condition is worth only its face value, 25 cents. But as with many coins, the true value of a coin emerges when it's in pristine, uncirculated condition. A coin that has been professionally graded as being in mint or near-mint condition can command a high price at auction. For those with the right coin, one that is graded highly and shows no signs of wear, the the value can be staggering. A 1980 Washington quarter with no mint mark in exceptional condition has been known to sell for as much as $50,000. That's $50,000 for a quarter that was originally worth only 25 cents. It's hard to fathom, but this is the reality of rare coin collecting. What was once considered pocket change has now become a collector's prize. But how do you know if your 1980 Washington quarter is worth such a fortune? The first thing to do is to inspect the condition of the coin carefully. Look for any signs of damage, wear, or discoloration. If the coin has sharp details, vibrant color, and no visible damage, you might just have a rare find on your hands. You'll also want to have the coin graded by a professional service to determine its exact value. A grade of MS 65 or higher can significantly boost the value of the coin, and in some cases, a coin with a grade of MS 67 or higher could command the highest prices at auction. Coin collectors are always on the lookout for coins that are in great condition, and the 1980 Washington quarter is no exception. If you're fortunate enough to find one of these quarters in pristine condition, it could be a lucrative investment, especially as more collectors seek out coins from specific years, mints, and designs. In conclusion, the 1980 Washington quarter with no mint mark is a perfect example of how the world of coin collecting can turn an everyday coin into a rare and valuable treasure. While most of these quarters are worth just 25 cents, those that are in excellent condition can fetch a remarkable price. If you happen to find a 1980 Washington quarter in mint or near mint condition, don't just toss it aside. It could be worth as much as $50,000. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just someone who enjoys looking through your spare change, you never know when you might come across a rare find that could make you a small fortune. So, the next time you handle your change, take a closer look. You might just have a hidden treasure on your hands. Top 2. When you think of valuable coins, you might imagine rare, centuries-old treasures or those with unique errors. But did you know that a Washington quarter minted in 1995 could be worth a small fortune? Specifically, a quarter from that year with a P mint mark, which was minted in Philadelphia, could be worth as much as $35,000. That's right, a coin worth just 25 cents when it was first produced could today command a price that's hard to believe. So, what makes this seemingly ordinary Washington quarter so valuable? Let's dive into the fascinating details of why this 1995 P mint mark Washington quarter could be worth far more than its face value. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American currency since 1932, when it was first introduced to honor the first president of the United States, George Washington. The design, created by sculptor John Flanagan, has remained largely unchanged on the obverse side of the coin, featuring Washington's profile. On the reverse side, however, the design has gone through a variety of changes over the years. From the eagle, which appeared from 1932 to 1998, to the state quarter series that began in 1999, the Washington quarter has seen quite a transformation. In 1995, the Washington quarter still featured the classic eagle on the reverse side. At the time, it was just another coin in the vast production of quarters that were circulating in the United States. While millions of these quarters were minted, the true value of the 1995 P mint mark Washington quarter isn't simply tied to its age, but rather to its quality and condition. Let's take a look at why this particular coin has become a sought-after collector's item. The most important factor that determines the value of any coin, especially one like the 1995 Washington quarter, is its condition. Coins that have been heavily circulated, spent, and worn down over time tend to have little value beyond their face value. However, a coin that has been preserved in excellent condition, with minimal wear and no significant damage, can command a much higher price. The 1995 quarter, when found in near mint or uncirculated condition, can be worth far more than just 25 cents. Now, you might wonder, what makes the 1995 P mint mark Washington quarter so unique? In 1995, billions of quarters were produced, and most of them were circulated for everyday transactions. The vast majority of these coins show signs of wear, such as scratches, fading, and smoothing of the details. But among the billions of coins produced, only a select few managed to remain in exceptional condition. This rarity, finding a 1995 quarter in pristine, uncirculated condition, is what makes this coin so valuable today. For coin collectors and investors, the key to determining a coin's worth is not just the year it was minted, but it's great. Professional coin grading services, such as the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, evaluate coins based on their condition and assign a grade. Coins that receive a grade of MS 65 or higher, meaning mint state, are considered to be in excellent, uncirculated condition. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. A 1995 P mint mark quarter that has been graded MS 65 or better can fetch a significant price, far surpassing its face value of 25 cents. While most 1995 quarters may only be worth a few dollars at best if they're in decent condition, a well-preserved coin can bring in much more. In fact, if you happen to have a 1995 Washington quarter with a P mint mark that has been graded in near-perfect condition, it could be worth as much as $35,000. That's $35,000 for a coin that was originally valued at just a quarter. The rarity of finding these coins in mint condition, combined with the demand for high-quality quarters from collectors, makes the 1995 P Washington quarter a highly coveted item in the numismatic world. If you think your 1995 Washington quarter might be worth something, the first step is to examine it closely. Look for any signs of damage or wear, such as scratches, discoloration, or other imperfections. If the coin looks sharp, with clean lines and no noticeable wear, it could be a good candidate for professional grading. If the coin is in exceptional condition, it could be worth far more than you think. Next, consider getting your coin graded by a professional service. A coin that has been graded by experts will be able to tell you exactly how much it's worth in today's market. A 1995 P Washington quarter in top-tier condition could be a valuable asset, and having it professionally graded will help you understand its true value. Grading is essential, as even the smallest imperfections can drastically lower a coin's value. It's also important to note that the value of coins can fluctuate depending on the market, so demand for a particular year or mint mark may change over time. However, quarters from significant years, such as the 1995 P mint mark, have consistently garnered attention from collectors due to their rarity and the historical significance they carry. In conclusion, the 1995 Washington quarter with a P mint mark is a perfect example of how even the most common coins can surprise us with their hidden value. While millions of these quarters were minted and circulated, only a small number managed to survive in pristine, uncirculated condition. For collectors and investors, these high-quality specimens are a true find. If you happen to stumble upon a 1995 quarter that's in excellent shape, don't just toss it aside. Take a moment to appreciate its potential worth. With the right preservation and professional grading, your 1995 P Washington quarter could be worth as much as $35,000. So, the next time you're going through your spare change, take a closer look. You might just have a valuable treasure in your hands. Top 3. Imagine you're going through your old coin collection, or even just scanning through some spare change when you come across a 1965 Washington quarter. At first glance, it seems like just another coin. Nothing particularly special about it. But here's where things get interesting. This seemingly ordinary quarter could actually be worth a small fortune. If it's in the right condition, a 1965 Washington quarter without a mint mark could fetch as much as $75,000. Yes, you read that correctly. A quarter, originally worth just 25 cents, could be worth tens of thousands of dollars. So, what makes this particular coin so valuable? Let's dive into the details and uncover why this 1965 Washington quarter is more than meets the eye. The Washington quarter, first minted in 1932 to honor George Washington's 200th birthday, has been a staple in U.S. coinage for over 90 years. The design, created by artist John Flanagan, features a portrait of Washington on the obverse side and an eagle on the reverse. Over the years, there have been various design changes, but the Washington quarter has remained a beloved symbol of American currency. The 1965 version of the quarter, however, stands out for a few key reasons that make it a prime target for collectors today. In 1965, the U.S. Mint made a significant change in the production of its coinage. Due to a silver shortage and rising silver prices, the Mint decided to eliminate the use of silver in certain coins, including the quarter. Prior to 1965, quarters were made from 90% silver, but in 1965, the composition changed to a cupronickel clad, with only a thin layer of copper at its core. This marked a shift in the coin's material, but not its iconic design. Because of this drastic change in composition, the 1965 Washington quarter is often seen as a transitionary coin in American numismatic history. However, while many of the 1965 quarters were produced in large quantities, it is the specific, no mint mark variety that can make certain examples incredibly valuable. Here's where things get interesting. Most coins produced in 1965 featured a mint mark indicating where they were made, either D for Denver or S for San Francisco. However, some 1965 quarters were minted in Philadelphia without a mint mark. The lack of a mint mark is a key factor in the value of these coins. While it may seem like a minor detail, it's this very feature that sets the coin apart from others. Because the 1965 Philadelphia quarter wasn't marked with a mint mark, it became a rare find for collectors looking for this unique version of the coin. Now, let's talk about the condition of the coin. As with all rare and valuable coins, the condition is everything. A 1965 Washington quarter in circulated condition is still worth its face value of 25 cents. However, when you find one that is in near-perfect, uncirculated condition, the value increases exponentially. A coin that has been well preserved, with sharp details and little to no wear, is far rarer than the millions of quarters that were used in everyday transactions. The value of these uncirculated coins is driven up by the demand from collectors who want to own a piece of American history in its best possible form. The condition and rarity of the 1965 no mint mark Washington quarter are what make it so valuable today. Most of the coins from this year were spent and circulated, so finding one in exceptional condition is like finding a hidden gem. If your 1965 quarter has remained untouched by time, free from the typical wear and tear, you could be holding on to a very valuable coin. In fact, a 1965 Washington quarter in top-tier condition, graded by professional services like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, can be worth $75,000. That's $75,000 for a coin that was originally worth just 25 cents. Why does a 1965 Washington quarter with no mint mark fetch such a high price? For one, there are very few of these coins in pristine condition, which makes them highly sought after by collectors. The lack of a mint mark adds another layer of rarity, as most coins from this year were minted with the D or S marks. Additionally, coins that have survived in uncirculated condition are considered treasures because they represent a moment in history when the U.S. Mint made a significant shift in its coinage. The 1965 quarter is a symbolic piece of the transition from silver to clad coins, and collectors find that historical significance highly appealing. If you're wondering how to tell if your 1965 quarter could be worth thousands, the first step is to carefully examine the coin. Look for any signs of wear, scratches, or discoloration. If the coin appears to have been used in circulation, it's likely not worth more than a few dollars. However, if you find a coin with sharp, clear details, minimal wear, and vibrant color, it might be a good candidate for professional grading. Remember, the key to its value lies in its condition. Ungraded coins that are not in perfect condition will not command the same high prices. Once you've determined that your 1965 Washington quarter could be in great condition, it's time to have it professionally graded. Grading services like NGC and PCGS will assign a grade to the coin, and this will give you a better idea of its market value. Coins that are graded MS 65 or higher, meaning they are in mint state with minimal signs of wear, are the ones that can fetch significant sums. The higher the grade, the higher the price at SO. If you're lucky enough to have a 1965 Washington quarter without a mint mark that is in mint condition, congratulations! You could be holding on to a coin worth $75,000. While not every 1965 quarter will fetch such a high price, those that are well-preserved and free of damage are extremely valuable in the world of coin collecting. The rarity of the 1965 no mint mark quarter, combined with its historical significance and the high demand for uncirculated coins, makes it a true treasure. Next time you're going through your change, take a moment to examine your 1965 Washington quarters closely. If you find one with no mint mark in excellent condition, you might just have a valuable coin on your hands. Whether you decide to keep it as part of your collection or sell it to the highest bidder, you can rest assured that this little quarter holds a surprising value that could be worth much more than its face value. It's a reminder that sometimes the most valuable things in life come in the smallest, Most unexpected packages. Top 4. When we think of valuable coins, we often imagine rare ones from centuries past. But what if I told you that a coin minted just a few decades ago could be worth a small fortune? Specifically, a 1985 Washington quarter with a P mint mark, minted in Philadelphia, might just be sitting in your pocket or tucked away in your spare change, and it could be worth as much as $45,000. Yes, you read that correctly. A quarter that was originally worth just 25 cents could now fetch tens of thousands of dollars in the right condition. So, what makes the 1985 P mint mark Washington quarter so valuable? Let's explore the details behind this fascinating coin and why it has become such a highly sought-after collector's item. The Washington quarter, first introduced in 1932, was designed to honor George Washington's 200th birthday. It has since become a staple in American currency, with various designs appearing on the reverse side over the years, though the obverse design, featuring Washington's portrait, has remained unchanged for most of the coin's history. In 1985, the quarter still featured the classic eagle on the reverse side, and it was produced in large quantities across different mints. But what makes this particular 1985 quarter so special? In the mid-1980s, the U.S. Mint was churning out quarters by the millions, as it does every year to meet the needs of everyday transactions. The Philadelphia Mint, denoted by the P mint mark, produced a significant number of these quarters. Typically, coins produced in large quantities like this tend to have little value beyond their face value once they've been circulated. After all, a quarter is just a quarter, right? Well, not always. The value of a coin often has less to do with its age and more to do with its condition and rarity. This is where the 1985 P Washington quarter stands out. Although millions of these quarters were minted, most of them were used in everyday transactions, which means they have likely been worn down, scratched, and damaged over time. However, the 1985 P Washington quarter is unique because of the relatively small number of them that have remained in pristine, uncirculated condition. And here's the kicker. It's these well-preserved specimens that are now worth significantly more than their original 25-cent face value. The key to understanding the value of this coin lies in its grade. Coins that are in pristine, uncirculated condition are rare, and the better the condition, the higher the value. For collectors, the term uncirculated means that a coin has not been used for everyday transactions and shows no signs of wear. These coins often have sharp, clear details, and their luster is still intact. A 1985 quarter in mint condition can be a true prize for collectors, and the demand for such high-quality pieces continues to rise. But what exactly makes the 1985 P mint mark Washington quarter worth such a hefty sum? It's all about rarity. While many coins from this era were produced, the 1985 quarter with the P mint mark is a coin that collectors have become more and more interested in over the years. A large number of quarters produced in 1985 have been circulated and are not in mint condition, but the ones that remain in near-perfect shape are scarce. This scarcity, combined with the rising demand for such coins, is what has driven up the price. In fact, a 1985 Washington quarter with a P mint mark in top-tier condition, graded MS 65 or higher by professional grading services like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, can command a significant price. Coins with such high grades are considered to be in almost perfect condition, with no visible imperfections, and they are prized by collectors who want to add a rare piece to their collections. The combination of high-grade condition, historical significance, and rarity is what has allowed the 1985 P quarter to fetch as much as $45,000 at auctions or private sales. So, how can you tell if your 1985 quarter is worth a fortune? Start by carefully examining the coin. Look at the details on both the obverse and reverse sides. If the coin shows signs of wear, such as scratches, fading, or rounding of the edges, it's likely worth only its face value. However, if the coin has sharp details, vibrant color, and appears to be in near-perfect condition, it could very well be a valuable coin. Keep in mind that even small imperfections can drastically lower a coin's value, so it's crucial to assess its condition thoroughly. Once you've inspected the coin and are confident it's in excellent condition, the next step is to have it professionally graded. Coin grading is a critical part of determining a coin's value, and grading services like NGC and PCGS will evaluate the coin's condition and assign it a grade. Coins that receive a grade of MS 65 or higher, indicating that they are well preserved and show minimal to no signs of wear, are the ones that can command premium prices in the market. If your 1985 P quarter is graded highly, you could be looking at a value of $45,000 or more. It's also important to note that the value of rare coins can fluctuate depending on the market, so demand for certain coins can change over time. However, the 1985 P Washington quarter is likely to remain a valuable piece for collectors due to its rarity, its excellent design, and the ongoing interest in U.S. coinage from the 1980s. Whether you're an experienced coin collector or just starting to explore the world of numismatics, understanding the importance of condition and rarity is key to discovering valuable coins like the 1985 quarter. In conclusion, the 1985 Washington quarter with the P mint mark is an excellent example of how a coin that was once considered commonplace can turn into a hidden treasure. While millions of quarters were minted in 1985, only a small number have survived in pristine, uncirculated condition, and these rare coins are now worth far more than their face value. If you happen to find a 1985 P mint mark quarter in excellent condition, consider having it graded by a professional. You could be holding on to a coin worth $45,000, and that's not a bad return for a coin that originally cost just a quarter. So, the next time you're going through your spare change or digging through old coin collections, take a closer look at those 1,985 quarters. They might just be more valuable than you think. Top 5. When you think of American coins, one of the most iconic designs that comes to mind is the Washington quarter. For over 90 years, this quarter has been a staple of U.S. currency. But what if I told you that a particular Washington quarter, minted in 1776 to 1976 with a P mint mark, could be worth as much as $33,000? Yes, you heard that right. A coin that was initially valued at just 25 cents could now be worth tens of thousands of dollars, depending on its condition. But how did this happen? Let's take a deep dive into the story behind the 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter, why it's so valuable, and what makes it a must-have for collectors. The 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter was minted to commemorate the United States bicentennial, the 200th anniversary of the country's independence. This quarter is special for several reasons. Not only does it celebrate the birth of the nation, but it also marked a major milestone in American coinage. The U.S. Mint decided to issue a special design for the quarter in 1976, featuring a unique reverse side. While the obverse design, showing George Washington's profile, remained the same as the traditional quarter, the reverse side underwent a significant change. In honor of the bicentennial, the reverse of the coin features a striking design that incorporates the Liberty Bell and the moon. This design was created by artist Jack L. Ahr and was chosen after a nationwide design competition. The coin, with its bicentennial theme, was released in 1975 and 1976, and millions of these quarters were produced in anticipation of the nation's 200th anniversary celebration. While millions of these quarters were minted, the sheer volume of production is not what makes them so valuable. The real value of the 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter lies in its rarity, its condition, and its place in American history. Although the coin was made in large numbers, certain variations and grades have caught the eye of collectors, and that's where the true value comes into play. One of the key factors in determining the value of this coin is its mint mark. The 1776 to 1976 quarter was minted at 3 different U.S. mint locations: Philadelphia, denoted by the P mint mark; Denver, with the D mint mark; and San Francisco, which produced proof versions marked with the S mint mark. The P mint mark quarters, minted in Philadelphia, are particularly intriguing because, prior to 1979, the U.S. Mint did not use a mint mark on regular circulation coins from Philadelphia. This makes the 1776 to 1976 Philadelphia Mint Mark quarter the first ever regular issue coin to carry the P mint mark, adding an extra layer of historical significance to this already special coin. Now, you may be wondering what makes a 1776 to 1976 quarter worth so much more than its face value. The answer is simple: condition, rarity, and the demand from collectors. Many of the coins that were produced were circulated in everyday transactions and were subject to the wear and tear of daily life. Coins that have been used extensively typically have scuff marks, worn-out designs, and other imperfections that lower their value. However, for those who manage to get their hands on uncirculated versions of the 1776 to 1976 quarter, the value is significantly higher. An uncirculated coin, meaning it has been preserved in mint condition with no noticeable signs of wear, is far rarer and much more desirable to collectors. This makes the 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter in pristine condition a valuable item. If you happen to own a 1776 to 1976 quarter that is in perfect condition, free from scratches, wear, or discoloration, it could be worth much more than you think. Depending on the grade and rarity of the coin, a 1776 to 1976 P mint mark quarter can fetch up to $33,000. That's $33,000 for a coin that originally cost just 25 cents. The price of these coins depends largely on their grade, which is determined by professional coin grading services such as the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. Coins that are graded MS 65 or higher, meaning they are in mint state with minimal signs of wear, can command prices well above face value. For collectors, these high-grade examples are incredibly sought after because they represent the finest versions of the coin available. A 1776 to 1976 P mint mark Washington quarter in uncirculated condition is considered a rare treasure, and the market for these coins has only grown over time. As the years go by, fewer and fewer of these quarters will remain in such pristine condition, which only increases their rarity and, ultimately, their value. How can you tell if your 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter is worth a fortune? Start by carefully inspecting the coin for any signs of wear. Look for any scratches, discoloration, or smoothing of the design. If the coin looks worn or damaged, it's likely not going to be worth more than a few dollars. However, if the quarter appears to be in excellent condition, with sharp details, no visible imperfections, and a clean, vibrant finish, then you may have a valuable piece on your hands. If you think your 1776 to 1976 P quarter is in great shape, the next step is to have it professionally graded. Grading is a crucial part of determining a coin's market value, and having a coin certified by a professional service can give you a better understanding of its worth. If your coin is graded highly, you could be looking at a coin worth as much as $33,000. Collectors often seek out coins like the 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter because they are not just currency, they are pieces of history. This coin represents an important milestone in the United States, commemorating the bicentennial and marking the first time that a P mint mark appeared on a circulating coin. As time goes on, these coins are becoming rarer, and their value is only expected to rise. In conclusion, if you happen to own a 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter with a P mint mark, and it's in exceptional condition, you could be holding onto a piece of American history that is worth far more than its face value. These coins, especially those in mint state, are valuable collector's items that can fetch incredible prices. If you've got one of these coins in your collection, don't let it slip away. It could be worth $33,000, and that's something you don't want to overlook. So, the next time you're going through your spare change or rifling through old coins, take a closer look. You might just have a rare treasure hiding in plain sight.